Hi everyone, in today's video, I'll show you how to make this phone pouch. The width is about 13 centimeters and the height is around 17 centimeters, but you can adjust the height to your preference. It's spacious enough to fit a large screen phone and even some tissues or small items. The button is crocheted too. Just crochet a loop and fasten it around. Alright, let's start from the beginning. We'll begin by making the base of the pouch. The base is made of 3 rows of single crochet stitches. Let's look at how to start the first row. First, leave a yarn tail, about half a meter or even longer if you prefer. Now make a slip knot. Wrap the yarn around your fingers, cross it behind your index finger, then press it down to form a loop. Insert the yarn from below through the loop, pinch the tail and pull. This forms a slip knot. Insert your crochet hook into the loop and tighten just enough so the hook can move freely. Now wrap the working yarn over the hook from below and pull it through. That's your first chain. You'll see a small loop on both sides. Repeat this, yarn over, pull through. This makes your second chain. Keep going like this until you have 24 chains. The number of starting chains should be a multiple of 3. So if you want the pouch wider, just add 3, 6, 9, etc. For this pouch, I made 24 chains. Once you've finished chaining, count the top braids. Each braid is 1 stitch. Don't count the loop on the hook. This starting chain defines the width of your pouch. If you want it wider, just continue adding multiples of 3. Now let's move on to the second row. This is the first row. For the second row, make 1 single crochet into each chain stitch. Start with a turning chain. Yarn over and pull through to make a small loop. Turn the work around. Insert the hook into the first stitch. Yarn over, pull through, and then pull through both loops on the hook. That's a single crochet. Repeat, insert, yarn over, pull through, then yarn over and pull through both loops. Make sure you're inserting the hook under both loops of the braid on top of the previous row. Continue single crochet until the end of the row. When you reach the last stitch of the second row, double check your stitch count. It should be 24. Then chain 1 and turn your work again for the third row. Keep crocheting single crochets, just like the second row. I'll finish the rest off screen. When you're done, you'll have 3 rows. This forms the base of the pouch. Now let's start on the body of the pouch, which is crocheted in the round around the base. There are 24 stitches on each long side. Make sure your stitch count is correct on both sides before continuing. We'll start by crocheting 1 round of single crochets all around the base. On the long sides, crochet 1 stitch into each base stitch, 1 to 1. At the short ends, the corners, crochet 3 single crochets into 1 stitch. This helps the corner curve nicely. So you'll make 3 stitches on each short side. Start the round with a chain stitch to act as the turning chain and flip your work. This is the first stitch. Okay, insert your hook into the first stitch and crochet a single crochet. Mark this first stitch with a stitch marker to help us connect the round later. Now continue crocheting one stitch into each hole along this edge, 1 to 1, until you reach the corner. When you reach the side corner, we need to pick up 2 loops when inserting the hook, this one and this one, to make it more secure. Gently pull the loop a bit higher. Find the 2 loops at the very edge, insert the hook under both of them, and crochet 3 single crochets into that one spot. 1, 2, 3, that completes one corner. Now move on to the long edge. Find the first stitch, make sure it's correct, and insert your hook into it for a single crochet. Keep going, 1 stitch per space, always inserting under 2 loops. I'll let you finish this side on your own until you reach the last stitch of the edge. When you arrive at the other short side, the other corner, just like before, locate the middle point and crochet 3 single crochets into that one spot as well. Pull the loop a little for flexibility. Insert the hook and crochet. 1, 2, 3. Now the first round is complete. Mark the last stitch with a stitch marker. We'll need this when we start the pattern around. Go back to the first stitch and connect the round with a slip stitch. Insert the hook into the first marked stitch, yarn over, and pull through both loops on the hook in one motion. That finishes the slip stitch and joins the round. With this, we've completed the first round of the pouch body. We've crocheted single crochets all the way around the base, straight edges with 1 stitch per space, and the corners with 3 single crochets each. Since we started with 24 stitches, the 2 long sides make 48, plus 6 stitches from the 2 corners, 3 each, a total of 54 stitches. You can count from 1 stitch marker to the other to double check that there are 54 stitches before moving on. Now let's start the patterned round. The pattern uses a flower motif made from 3 stitches and uses cross double crochets. We'll begin the flower pattern with 3 stitches. We'll crochet double crochets into the first and second stitches, then return to the previous stitch, the last one of the previous round, and crochet a single crochet. So this first flower motif will be formed from the marked stitch, first stitch, the next stitch, and then return to the last stitch of the previous round. Start with the first stitch. We'll use 3 chain stitches to stand in for the first double crochet. Yarn over and pull through. Do that 3 times to make 3 chains. Now go into the next stitch and crochet a double crochet. Insert the hook, yarn over, pull through. Now you have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over again, pull through the remaining 2 loops. That's a double crochet. Now remove the stitch marker and place it on the 3rd chain, the top of the initial chain 3. Attach the marker to the left strand just below the top loop. Now go back to the stitch from the previous round. Insert your hook under the chain into the space below and crochet a single crochet. Insert the hook and pull through. Yarn over and pull through. Raise the loop slightly, then yarn over again and pull through 2 loops. This completes a single crochet. So the pattern is double crochets followed by a single crochet. The single crochet wraps around the 2 previous double crochets and it is inserted into the first stitch, the one we skipped earlier. That completes the first flower motif. Each flower uses 3 stitches. Let's move to the next flower. Look at this stitch here. It already has a double crochet coming out of it, so it's been used. The next stitch is empty. That will be our first stitch. So the next flower will use these 3 stitches. Skip the first one and work double crochets into the second and third stitches. Yarn over, insert the hook into the second stitch, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2. That's 1 double crochet. Now into the third stitch, yarn over, insert, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. The second double crochet is done. Now go back to the first stitch, the one we skipped, and crochet a single crochet into it. That completes another flower. Every flower follows the same pattern, 3 stitches with a double crochet, single crochet setup. Let's demonstrate one more set. Use these 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, skip the first stitch. Into the second and third stitches, work a double crochet each, then return to the first stitch and crochet a single crochet. That's it. Keep going until you reach the corner. For the corners, everything works the same. Always work with 3 stitches per flower. Skip the first, double crochet in the next 2, and return to the first for the single crochet. Now look at this corner. The first stitch has already been used, so our next group will be 1, 2, 3. Insert the hook into the second stitch for a double crochet, then the third stitch for another double crochet. Then return to the first stitch for a single crochet. That completes the corner flower. Now repeat the process. Next group of 3 stitches, skip the first, double crochet in the second and third, then go back to the first for the single crochet. If the stitch is a bit tight or off, just adjust slightly. It'll work out. Continue like this across the straight edges. When you get to the final corner, check your remaining stitches. If 3 stitches remain, great. One last flower to go. If only 2 stitches are left, don't worry. Just reuse the last stitch from the previous flower as the first stitch of the final one. Then double crochet in the second stitch, double crochet in the third. Go back and single crochet into the reused stitch. Now that the last flower is complete, you can mark the final single crochet if you want, but you can also just identify it visually by its shape. Look at the 2 strands on top. The little braid above is the next stitch point. You can now remove the stitch marker from earlier. Insert your hook into the third chain from the first flower. That's the top of the first double crochet. Yarn over and pull through. That's your slip stitch to join the round. Tighten the loop a little. Now the first round of flower motifs is complete. There are 18 flower motifs total, 54 stitches in the round, divided by 3 stitches per flower, equal 18 flowers. Let's continue with the second round. Starting from the second round, the stitch pattern remains the same for all the following rounds, all the way up to the top of the pouch. Let's break it down. For each flower pattern, you will work a double crochet into each of the 2 double crochets from the previous round, then go back to the single crochet from the previous round and crochet 1 single crochet into it. So it's always 2 double crochets forward, then 1 single crochet backward. First flower of round 2. Start the round by chaining 3. This will count as the first double crochet. Place a stitch marker into the 3rd chain to mark the top of this stitch. Next, go into the next stitch, which corresponds to the second double crochet from the previous flower, and work a double crochet. So now we've done 2 double crochets. The next stitch, the 3rd one, is the single crochet from the last round. Go backward into that stitch and work a single crochet. That completes the first flower in this round. Now continue with the rest of the round. The first double crochet from the previous round is already used, so your next flower will use. First stitch, single crochet, skip it for now. Second stitch, double crochet. Third stitch, double crochet. Double crochet in the second stitch, a double crochet from the previous round, double crochet in the 3rd stitch, next double crochet, go back to the skipped single crochet, first stitch of this group, and work a single crochet. Repeat this 3-stitch flower pattern across the round. The pattern is offset by 1 stitch compared to the previous round, so the flowers are not stacked directly on top of each other, they are staggered. Ending the round, as you reach the last flower group, you should have 2 double crochets left. Use them to crochet 2 double crochets. Skip the final single crochet for now. Then go back to that last single crochet and work a single crochet. That completes the final flower. Now go back to the stitch marker. Insert your hook into the marked chain, the top of the starting chain 3. Yarn over and pull through to complete a slip stitch. I've now reached the desired height for the pouch. To finish the last round, I connected it with a slip stitch at the marked stitch using the stitch marker. Next, we'll crochet the top edge using slip stitches, 1 slip stitch in each chain stitch around the top, but in the middle of the back side, we'll create a small loop chain for the button closure. Let's walk through it. Step 1. Mark the center. First, identify a center point in the back side of the pouch. Make sure it's symmetrical and aligned. Mark that spot with a stitch marker. When you reach that stitch, we'll begin the chain loop. Now begin slip stitching from the beginning of the round. Insert the hook into the first stitch under the loop on your hook. That's the first slip stitch. Mark it with a stitch marker for reference. Then in each following stitch, double crochets and single crochets from previous round. Insert the hook, yarn over, and pull through. Just like a regular slip stitch, continue one by one, working around the top edge. When you reach the center stitch, the one marked, work one more slip stitch into that stitch, then begin chaining. I chained 17 stitches, and the final 3 chains will be worked into the other side of the loop using slip stitches to secure them. You can make the chain longer or shorter depending on your button size. So after chaining 1, 2, 3, up to 17, then slip stitch into the third to last chain and the next 2. Insert the hook into the 15th chain from the start. Yarn over, pull through, repeat for the next 2. That secures the loop into a closed shape. After closing the loop, move to the next stitch and continue slip stitching around the top edge. Now you'll have a nice, neat edge with the loop in the center for the button. Keep going until you reach the first stitch of the round. Once you finish the last slip stitch, pull the working yarn loop long, then cut the yarn. Now we'll weave in the tail using the invisible join method. Insert the hook under the first stitch's chain braid where you placed the stitch marker. Pull the yarn tail through the front. Then using a thinner needle or hook, go back into the center of the last slip stitch and pull the yarn tail to the back. This creates a clean finish. It looks like a normal stitch from the outside. Tuck the yarn tail into the inside of the pouch. Use the hook to hide the yarn tail through a few nearby stitches from the wrong side. After hiding it for a short distance, cut the excess, and if needed, carefully melt the end with the lighter so it stays hidden and won't unravel. Now the main part of the pouch is complete. We'll start from one end and crochet the strap across to the other side, then sew it on. You can start from either side. Both are the same. Choose the spot on the side edge of the pouch where you want to attach the strap. First, make a slip knot like before. Wrap the yarn. Press it down to form a loop. Insert the tail through the loop. Pull and tighten to make a slip knot. Insert the hook into the side of the pouch where you want the strap to begin. For example, right at the corner. Pull the slip knot through and tighten it around the hook. Chain 1 stitch to begin. Insert the hook into the same stitch again, yarn over, pull through, and complete a single crochet. This is your first stitch. Now flip the work to the back side and insert the hook into the same 2 loops as before. Yarn over, pull through, and make another single crochet. Flip the work again. You'll see 2 loops on the side. Insert the hook under both and crochet a single crochet again. Repeat this flip and stitch pattern continuously. I crocheted my strap to about 1.05 meters. You can adjust the length based on your height. Around 1 to 1.1 meters works well for most people. Just keep flipping and crocheting single crochets using the 2 side loops. Once you've reached your desired length, we'll attach it to the other side of the pouch. Now that the strap is finished, we'll sew it onto the opposite side of the pouch. Choose a spot, for example, the opposite corner. Here's how to attach. Insert the hook through the 2 edge loops of the strap, then insert it into a stitch at the bottom of the pouch body. Yarn over, pull through both loops. Now you have 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over again and pull through both. That's a single crochet that joins the strap. Flip the pouch again and repeat. Insert into the same spot, crochet another single crochet. That makes 2 single crochets that firmly attach the strap to the pouch. Chain 1, then pull the loop along and cut the yarn. Pull the tail through. Now weave in the yarn tail into the inside of the pouch, using the same method as we did for the top edge. Use the hook to pull the tail through nearby stitches inside. After a short distance, trim the excess. Optionally, melt the tip with a lighter to secure it. Do the same for the other end if any tails are still showing. And that's it! Your strap is completely and fully attached. Next, we'll learn how to crochet the button. Take your yarn and leave about 20 centimeters as a yarn tail. Then wrap the yarn around your fingers. Bring it over the back of your index finger. Press it down to form a loop. Insert the bottom strand through the loop and pull. This forms a slip knot. Insert the crochet hook into the slip knot and tighten it slightly. Chain 5 stitches. Yarn over and pull through. That's 1, then continue 2, 3, 4, 5. Now locate the first chain you made. Insert your hook into the back loop of the first chain. Yarn over and pull through both loops. This creates a slip stitch and forms a ring. Now work single crochets into the ring. Insert your hook into the center of the ring. Yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops unhook, yarn over and pull through both. That's 1 single crochet. Repeat this around the ring. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Around 7 single crochets will fill the ring. This completes round 1. Continue round 2 by crocheting single crochets into each stitch of the previous round. Insert the hook into the top of each single crochet, yarn over and complete a single crochet one by one around the circle. Make sure to crochet over the tail to help secure it. If there's still a visible gap, you can add an extra stitch. This round doesn't need an exact stitch count. When you reach the beginning again, you've completed round 2. Begin round 3, continuing with single crochets into each stitch. This round will feel a little tighter. Crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way to about 10 to 11 stitches. Once the circle feels firm and full, you can stop. If any stitch around the edge, insert your hook and make a slip stitch, then chain 1 stitch, pull the loop long and cut the yarn, leaving a tail for sewing. Pull the yarn tail all the way through. Now shape the button with your fingers. Gently press and pinch the edges so it forms a round, puffy shape. The 2 yarn tails will be used to sew the button onto the pouch. From the front, your button should look like a neat little circle. Find the right spot for the button on your pouch. It should line up with the loop you made earlier. Insert 1 yarn tail into the fabric, pull it through the inside of the pouch, Then insert the second yarn tail through a nearby hole, so both yarn tails come out at the back. Tie your firm knot on the inside. After that, weave in the yarn tails using your crochet hook. Tuck the ends into the inner side of the pouch fabric. Once the tails are hidden, the button is complete. Now just loop the buttonhole around the button and your phone pouch is finished.